What's happening, Vikings territory? Buckle up, because what I'm about to share with you will completely flip your understanding of this 2025 season on its head. We're talking about breakthrough performances that nobody saw coming, devastating decisions that have shaken the organization to its core, and potential solutions that could either save our championship dreams or leave us scrambling for answers. You think you know how this season is going to unfold? Think again. The last 72 hours have been an absolute whirlwind of emotions that will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about Kevin O'Connell's master plan and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah's vision for this franchise. Picture this. One moment you're watching an undrafted rookie quarterback looking like he belongs in the NFL, feeling hopeful about the future. Then reality hits like a freight train with roster moves that make you wonder if we're building something special or tearing everything down. Add in devastating injuries that could derail our entire season, and suddenly you're looking at free agency options that range from desperate to downright insane. Here's what's keeping me awake at night. Can lightning strike twice with our quarterback development? How do you rebuild depth when you keep losing the pieces you thought were locked in? And most importantly, are we one signature away from saving this season, or one bad decision away from complete disaster? I've got 5 explosive stories that will take you on an emotional roller coaster unlike anything you've experienced this offseason. We're talking about an undrafted gem who might be our future, a former high pick whose dreams just got crushed, a career-ending moment that nobody saw coming, a division rival's mistake that could be our salvation, and free agency options that include legitimate Hall of Fame talent. But before we dive into this chaos that is Vikings football right now, I need you to absolutely destroy that like button. If you're ready for the unfiltered truth, drop a comment telling me how you're feeling about these wild roster moves. And make sure you're subscribed, because this ride is about to get intense. Let's start with a story that will give you hope for the future of this franchise. Sometimes the best discoveries happen when you're not even looking for them. Saturday night in Minneapolis, while everyone was focused on the starters and the roster battles we all expected, something magical happened that could change the trajectory of this franchise for years to come. Meet Max Brosmer, the undrafted rookie quarterback who just announced to the entire NFL that he belongs on this roster. This isn't your typical feel-good story about an underdog getting a shot. This is about a quarterback who looks so polished, so ready, so perfectly suited for Kevin O'Connell's system that you have to wonder if the Vikings just found their long-term backup solution to J.J. McCarthy. 19 snaps! That's all it took for Brosmer to completely flip the script on what everyone thought they knew about our quarterback depth. 3 of those snaps were nail-downs, which means in just 16 meaningful plays, this undrafted rookie from New Hampshire showed why the Vikings prioritized him above dozens of other college quarterbacks. But here's what separates Brosmer from every other backup quarterback we've seen in recent years. He doesn't just look like he can manage games. He looks like he can win them. The accuracy over the middle that O'Connell demands, Brosmer delivered it with surgical precision. The anticipation throws that separate good quarterbacks from great ones. He was making them look routine. Watch this progression. Brosmer sees Miles Price with perfect leverage on an in-breaking route and rifles the ball exactly where it needs to be. No hesitation, no double clutch, just pure quarterback instinct that you can't teach. This is the same type of throw that Sam Darnold and Kirk Cousins have been making in this system for 3 years. Except Brosmer is doing it as an undrafted rookie in his first NFL action. Then came the touchdown pass that had everyone in the building taking notice. 4th down, back of the end zone, pressure mounting, and Brosmer goes through his progressions like a 10-year veteran. Left to right, processing the defense, finding Price on the backside for the score. It was poetry in motion. That was the 4th that was a board guy, similar to what concept we had against UCLA last year on a 2-minute drive to win it. Brosmer explained after the game. That was kind of similar to where we hit on the backside of progression. Miles got to a really good spot, cooked his DB up, and was wide open back of the end zone. Listen to that football intelligence. This isn't a guy who got lucky on one play. This is a quarterback who understands concepts, recognizes leverage, and can articulate his decision-making process like someone who's been studying film for years. Here's what should have Vikings fans absolutely ecstatic. With Brett Rypien struggling in the opener, there's now a legitimate path for Brosmer to not just make this roster, but to become a cornerstone of our future. We're talking about finding a franchise backup quarterback in the undrafted free agent pool. Something that could save this organization millions of dollars over the next decade. But here's the question that's driving me crazy. How do you balance developing this diamond in the rough with the immediate needs of a team that's trying to win now? Do you keep 3 quarterbacks? Do you stash Brosmer on a practice squad and risk losing him to another team? One preseason game doesn't make a career, but it can change everything about how an organization views a player. Brosmer just went from long shot to legitimate prospect in 16 snaps. And that kind of performance doesn't happen by accident. Tell me in the comments, do you think Brosmer should make the 53-man roster? Or are we getting ahead of ourselves based on one strong showing? Because what happened next with our linebacker situation might just steal all the headlines. You know that sinking feeling when you realize a relationship just isn't working, no matter how much you want it to? When you've invested years of your life trying to make something work, but deep down, you know it's time to walk away. That's exactly what happened Tuesday when the Minnesota Vikings officially ended one of the most disappointing draft stories in recent franchise history. Brian Asamoah II is no longer a Minnesota Viking, and the way it happened should send chills down the spine of every player on this roster who thinks their spot is guaranteed. 3 years, 191 career snaps, and a third-round draft investment that just got flushed down the drain before the second preseason game even kicked off. This isn't just about one player failing to live up to expectations. This is about a systematic dismantling of what was supposed to be the foundation of our future. Remember that infamous 2022 draft class. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah's first as general manager. The one that was supposed to prove he could build through the draft. 10 players selected. Only 2 remain. Ty Chandler and Jalen Naylor. 8 promising prospects gone. 8 investments that didn't pan out. 8 dreams that turned into cautionary tales about the brutal reality of professional football. But here's what makes Asamoah's release so particularly brutal. They didn't even wait to see what he could do in the second preseason game. Usually teams give their former picks every possible chance to prove themselves, especially guys with significant draft capital invested. Not this time. The Vikings saw everything they needed to see and said, "We're done." Think about what that means for a second. Asamoah was the 66th overall pick, a former Oklahoma standout who was supposed to bring Big 12 athleticism and speed to our linebacker core. 3 seasons later, he couldn't even crack the rotation behind Blake Cashman, Ivan Pace Jr., and Eric Wilson. That's not just a player failing to develop. That's a complete organizational miscalculation. And the timing, absolutely devastating. Same day they put Rondell Moore on injured reserve. Same day they waived center Zeke Correll with an injury designation. Multiple position groups getting thinner simultaneously, multiple holes opening up in what was supposed to be a complete roster. Here's what should terrify every Vikings fan. If we can't develop a third-round linebacker over 3 full seasons, what does that say about our coaching staff's ability to maximize talent? What does that say about our scouting department's evaluation process? When you consistently whiff on mid-round picks, you're not just wasting draft capital. You're crippling your ability to build sustainable depth. The linebacker room is now built around Cashman, Pace Jr., Wilson, and rookie Kobe King. One injury to any of our top guys, and we're looking at emergency signings and practice squad promotions in crucial moments. That's not championship level depth. That's praying your starters stay healthy for 17 games plus playoffs. But here's the most frustrating part. Asamoah was exactly the type of player this defense was supposed to be built around. Young, athletic, hungry, with the physical tools to excel in Brian Flores' aggressive scheme. If he couldn't make it work here with this coaching staff in this system, then maybe the problem isn't just individual development. This release sends a message to every player in that locker room. Draft pedigree doesn't guarantee anything. 3 years of patience doesn't guarantee anything. If you're not producing at an NFL level, your time is up, regardless of where you were selected or how much the organization invested in you. The cruel irony? Asamoah's release opens up a roster spot. But for what? Another developmental project, another lottery ticket that might not pay off for years. At some point, you have to question whether we're building a championship roster or just cycling through prospects hoping something sticks. What do you think went wrong with Asamoah's development? Was this a scouting miss, a coaching failure, or just bad luck? Drop your thoughts below because this next story might be the most heartbreaking of all. There are moments in football that remind you just how cruel this game can be. Moments that make you question whether some people are destined for heartbreak, no matter how hard they fight, no matter how much they sacrifice, no matter how desperately they want to prove they belong. Saturday night, Rondale Moore lived through one of those moments, and it's going to haunt Vikings fans for the rest of this season. One snap, one single punt return, one routine tackle that went wrong in the worst possible way. That's all it took to shatter 2 years of hope, rehab, and determination. Moore fielded that punt, cut along the sideline, took what looked like a standard tackle, and then silence. That awful, gut-wrenching silence when everyone in the stadium knows something terrible has happened. The cart came out. The medical staff surrounded him. The delay stretched on forever, and Kevin O'Connell's face told a story before any official announcement ever could. See, this wasn't a minor setback. This was a nightmare coming true all over again. It's one of the most painful things for me as a head coach when I feel that emotion, O'Connell said after the game, his voice heavy with the weight of watching dreams die in real time. I make a life out of trying to leave others better than I found them. In that situation, there's nothing I can do, which is the worst feeling as a coach. Season-ending knee injury. Again. For the second consecutive year, Moore will spend September through January watching football instead of playing it, rehabbing instead of competing, wondering if his body will ever let him be the player he knows he can be. This isn't just about losing a receiver. This is about watching a man's career slip away one devastating injury at a time. Moore was a second-round pick by Arizona in 2021, an explosive playmaker who was supposed to terrorize defenses with his speed and versatility. Instead, he's played in exactly 9 regular season games since week 18 of 2023. Think about that timeline. 2 full seasons lost to knee injuries. 2 years of his prime gone. 2 opportunities to prove he belongs in this league, stolen by circumstances completely beyond his control. At what point does talent become irrelevant when your body keeps betraying you? The Vikings signed Moore believing they were getting a steal, a former high pick with game-breaking ability available for minimal cost because of injury concerns. He was supposed to transform our return game, give Justin Jefferson a legitimate complement, and provide the kind of explosive plays that can change the momentum of entire seasons. Instead, we got 16 seconds of hope before reality crushed everything. But here's what makes this story even more tragic. Moore did everything right. He spent all of 2024 rehabbing with Atlanta, working tirelessly to get his knee back to full strength. He signed with Minnesota hungry to prove his doubters wrong. He showed up to training camp in phenomenal shape, ready to contribute immediately. None of it mattered. Football is a violent sport, and sometimes violence wins regardless of preparation, determination, or dreams. Now the Vikings enter the regular season without Moore, without Jordan Addison for 3 games, and with Justin Jefferson still managing hamstring issues. Our receiving core went from thin to absolutely desperate in the span of one tragic tackle. For Moore, this isn't just about missing another season. This is about facing the harsh reality that his NFL career might be over before it ever really began. 2 consecutive season-ending knee injuries don't just steal seasons, they steal confidence, they steal opportunities, and they steal the prime years that every professional athlete knows they can never get back. The football gods can be incredibly cruel sometimes. They give you just enough hope to make the fall that much more devastating. They let you believe that maybe, just maybe, this time will be different. Then they remind you that in the NFL, hope is a luxury that can be taken away in an instant. How do you come back from something like this? How do you maintain faith in your body when it keeps failing you at the worst possible moments? Tell me in the comments. Do you think Moore will ever get another real shot in this league, or are we watching a career end in the cruelest way possible? Because believe it or not, there might still be hope hiding in the most unexpected place. Sometimes salvation comes from the most unlikely sources. Sometimes your biggest rival's mistake becomes your greatest opportunity. And sometimes, Vikings fans, the answer to all your problems is sitting right there in Green Bay, probably packing his bags after one of the most embarrassing preseason performances in recent memory. Let me tell you about Mecole Hardman, the 3-time Super Bowl champion who could be the difference between salvaging this season and watching it spiral into complete chaos. Right now, he's wearing green and gold, but after Saturday night's disaster against the Jets, he might not be wearing those colors much longer. Picture this: dropped passes, muffed punts, and a decision to field a punt inside the 5-yard line that had Matt LaFleur and his coaching staff questioning everything they thought they knew about veteran leadership. In one preseason game, Hardman went from depth piece to potential liability, and the Packers are reportedly moving him down their depth chart as we speak. But here's what Green Bay might be forgetting in their rush to judgment. This is the same Mecole Hardman who caught game-winning touchdowns in the Super Bowl. The same explosive receiver who helped Patrick Mahomes terrorize the AFC West for years. The same proven veteran who knows what it takes to perform when the lights are brightest and the stakes are highest. Sure, his numbers last season were underwhelming, 12 catches for 90 yards with Kansas City, but context matters Vikings territory. He was buried behind Travis Kelce and a loaded receiving corps, fighting for scraps in an offense that didn't need him to be a primary weapon. Put him in Minnesota, where we desperately need someone who can stretch the field and create separation, and those numbers could tell a completely different story. Think about what Hardman brings that our current receiving room lacks. Legitimate 4. 3 speed that can take the top off any defense, championship experience that could calm nerves in crucial moments, and the kind of veteran presence that could help develop our younger receivers while Jordan Addison serves his suspension. The beautiful irony here is that Green Bay's impatience could be our salvation. They're ready to give up on a proven commodity because of one bad performance, while we're over here praying that Lucky Jackson and Ty Felton can handle the pressure of meaningful snaps in crucial games. Now imagine this scenario. Hardman gets released by the Packers, signs with Minnesota, and suddenly becomes our WR3 for the first 3 games while Addison is suspended. JJ, McCarthy goes from having the thinnest receiving room in the NFL to having a legitimate deep threat who can complement Justin Jefferson's route running mastery. But here's the question that should have Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah's phone buzzing. Do you wait for Green Bay to cut him loose, or do you try to pry him away with a trade before other teams start circling? Every day you wait is another day for someone else to realize what a steal this could be. The risk is obvious. One preseason disaster doesn't erase years of production, but it does raise questions about where his head is at. Are we looking at a motivated veteran eager to prove his doubters wrong, or a player whose best days are clearly behind him? Here's what I keep coming back to. Championship experience is invaluable. When September rolls around and the games start counting, do you want undrafted rookies making crucial catches? Or do you want a guy who's been there before, who's performed on the biggest stages, who knows exactly what it takes to win when everything is on the line? The Vikings could be looking at the steal of the century if they can somehow land Hardman, a proven veteran at a position of desperate need, available for minimal cost because another team couldn't see past one bad performance. This is how championship rosters get built, finding value where others see problems. But time is running out. Roster cuts are coming in 2 weeks, and if we don't act fast, some other team is going to realize that Hardman's upside far outweighs his recent struggles. What do you think, Vikings territory? Should we take a flyer on Hardman, or are there better options available? Because speaking of options, the free agency market still has some names that might blow your mind. Alex Part 6, Free Agency Dreams and Championship Hopes. 4,500 characters. Here we are, Vikings territory, the moment of truth. All the injuries, all the roster moves, all the uncertainty of this chaotic offseason has led us to this. Do we swing for the fences in free agency, or do we trust that our young guys can step up when everything is on the line? Let me paint you a picture that will either give you goosebumps or send you into complete panic mode. The free agency market is still breathing, and some of these available names could transform our entire season with one signature. We're talking about legitimate Hall of Fame talent, proven veterans, and game changers who could walk into our facility tomorrow and immediately become the most experienced receiver on our roster. Odell Beckham Jr. Yeah, you heard that right. OBJ is still available, still looking for the right opportunity, and still carrying the kind of resume that makes defensive coordinators lose sleep. At 32, he might be past his prime, but here's what age can't take away: route running intelligence, championship experience, and the ability to make impossible catches in crucial moments. Think about the narrative. Beckham Jr. won a Super Bowl with Kevin O'Connell in Los Angeles. They have history, they have chemistry, and they have mutual respect. If Minnesota wants a proven veteran who can handle the pressure of being Justin Jefferson's running mate, especially with Jordan Addison suspended for 3 games, OBJ could make perfect sense. But here's the question that's keeping me awake. Are we desperate enough to take that risk? Beckham Jr. brings talent, but he also brings attention, expectations, and the kind of media circus that could either energize a locker room or completely disrupt it. In a season where everything needs to go right for us to make a championship run, can we afford that kind of wild card? Then there's the more conservative route. Guys like Nelson Agholor, Tyler Boyd, or Gabe Davis. Proven veterans who know how to contribute without demanding the spotlight. Receivers who could slide into our system and provide exactly what we need without changing the entire dynamic of our offense. The Tyler Boyd option particularly intrigues me. As slot specialist who could give J.J. McCarthy that reliable underneath target while Jefferson commands double teams outside. Boyd's not going to make highlight reels, but he's going to be exactly where he needs to be when the quarterback needs him most. But here's what's driving Kwesi Adofo-Mensah crazy right now: timing. Do you make a move now and potentially overpay for immediate help? Or do you wait until August 27th when roster cuts happen and dozens of receivers hit the waiver wire? Every day you wait is another day of missed chemistry, another day of uncertainty, another day closer to September 8th when the games start counting for real. The Vikings are walking the finest of lines between desperation and calculation. Make the wrong move and you're stuck with an expensive veteran who doesn't fit your system. Make no move at all and you're asking Justin Jefferson to carry an impossibly heavy load while inexperienced receivers learn on the job in the most pressure-packed moments of the season. Here's my prediction: the Vikings are going to make a move, and it's going to be bigger than anyone expects. You don't lose Rondale Moore to injury, watch Jordan Addison get suspended, and then sit on your hands hoping everything works out. Championship windows don't stay open forever, and this organization knows they need to maximize J.J. McCarthy's rookie season. The next 2 weeks will define everything about this season. We are going to find out if the Vikings are serious about competing for a Super Bowl, or if they're content to let young receivers learn through trial by fire. We're going to discover if Kevin O'Connell's offense can function without reliable depth, or if this injury crisis forces them to completely reimagine their approach. This is where legacies get made, Vikings territory. Championship teams find ways to overcome adversity, to turn problems into opportunities, to emerge stronger from chaos. The question is, are we watching the birth of something special, or are we witnessing the slow collapse of our championship dream? Hit that like button if you think the Vikings should go all in on a big name free agent. Drop a comment with your preferred solution to our receiver crisis. And make sure you subscribe because this story is far from over. The regular season is coming fast, roster cuts are looming, and every decision from here on out could determine whether we're celebrating in February or wondering what could have been. Vikings territory. The most important weeks of our season start right now. Are you ready for what comes next?